The year is 2013 and Bandai Namco is on its feet again. Shiny Festa had done really well and Cinderella Girls was Cinderella Girl. Greetings to the date that we're recording this. This video is taking us a little bit longer to make than we initially expected, so as of now we're going to split this video into two. The anime was a successful endeavor too, so how about we expand Namco Pro even further? We're gonna need fresh faces, although we can't just discard the old cast away. Then again, having a full-fledged console game with more than 9 heroines is probably a crazy idea. So, why not just make a social game like Cinderella Girls? Welcome once again to this series where we analyze the Idolmaster games. This time I, AaronP, will talk in quite a bit of detail about the Million Live game, which was finally announced to have its anime premiering in fall 2023. Finally. So, to start, the Idolmaster Million Live may look like Bandai Namco's attempt to make a browser-based card-collecting RPG just like the Cinderella Girls that they outsourced to Cygames. But Million Live was a turning point more important than most people think. To start off with, we're talking about Lantis. This is the first game where the Idolmaster series would end up being divided into two macro series, Columbia Idolmaster and Lantis Idolmaster. Because this is related to one of the most important things that Idolmaster has, the music, we'll discuss this more before we talk about the Million Live game itself. Although technically, IMAS does have 3 music labels, but Media Factory exclusively published music for Puchimas, which has no games. Thus, Media Factory will be largely ignored in this series because this is about the video games that comprise the Idolmaster. So, to start, the first Idolmaster game was published when Namco was still Namco. By March 31st, 2006, Namco merged with Bandai to become Namco Bandai Games. Let's not talk about why the merger happened, but what's important is that it was with Bandai. At the time when Namco was still Namco, Columbia was chosen as their label partner to publish CDs because 1. Namco didn't have any music publishing divisions, and 2. They already had a relationship in this regard with the Taiko no Tatsujin CDs. Lastly, there is no need to partner with Lantis. At the time, Lantis hadn't been acquired by Bandai Namco Holdings. Instead, they were only acquired after Bandai and Namco merged. When developing their games, the Namco side of Bandai Namco are generally left on their own, with minimal intrusions from the Bandai side. We do know Bandai is notorious for being greedy, so one can kinda speculate that the decision for Idolmaster to use Lantis as their label was enforced by Bandai. In general, there's absolutely no need to use 2 or even 3 music labels for your music in one series. In fact, Idolmaster is the only Idol series so far up to the time of this video that has CDs published by more than one label. So for those that don't really know about music labels, Lantis is utilized by Bandai to be the label to release the CDs of their other Idol IPs. Not Namco's, which is kinda confusing, but bear with me about Bandai Namco's Idol franchise. Bandai Namco overall has 4 Idol franchises in total: Aikatsu, Love Live, Idolish 7, and of course, Idolmaster. Their handling and copyright are complicated besides Idolmaster, so to simplify things, let's just say that Aikatsu, Love Live, and Idolish 7 are the Bandai Idol series. Idolmaster is the oldest sibling out of the Bandai Namco Idol franchises, and they've been handled by Namco, Bandai Namco Games, and very rarely Bandai, save for Xenoglossia, until Million Live. In short, the main distinction between the other 3 and Idolmaster is that the other 3 franchises have their CDs published by Lantis as their music label. IMAS was the only one that didn't work with Lantis until they opted to, or had to. And there might have been a financial reason for this, either by Namco's own decision or Bandai's command to slowly stay away from Columbia because, as explained, there's 2 main publishers for IMAS, being Columbia and Lantis. Only the mainline Namco Pro console games and Cinderella Girls use Columbia as their label to this day. Million Live and the other new sub-series onward have Lantis as their label. So that was just the music labels. How did this affect the games? It affects them quite significantly actually because it affects the composers of the songs. This might just be because of the song direction instead of the limitations imposed by both labels, and it had been known that there's composers that work on Lantis and Columbia at the same time, but Lantis Idolmaster series are far likely to assign BNSI composers, the ones belonging to Namco's composer team, or composers that used to be in BNSI to compose their songs. Some of the Columbia Idolmaster veterans and mainstays such as Linda IQ, Takuinoue, Ajurika, and Goshina to this day have never composed for Lantis Idolmaster. On the bright side though, Lantis Idolmaster mainly assigns external composers that are known for their work outside of video games, such as anime songs and composing for real-life idols. Notably, this is Zack, Astronauts, Ko, and Takao Kawada. We might not be able to get songs that are more video game-like from Lantis Idolmaster, but it does bring a fresh, more real-life idol or anime-like feel for Idolmaster songs. But enough about song composers. Let's get back to the first Lantis Idolmaster sub-series, the Idolmaster Million Live game, which in this video will be referred to ML or Greemas, released on February 27th, 2013. ML was a card-collecting social networking game designed to be played on your browser, but could also be played on Android and iOS. Registering a Gree account needed a Japanese IP, but thankfully that could be easily bypassed with a VPN. And once your account was made, a proxy or similar methods was no longer needed. Since there was no need for any confirmation like on the mobile platform, ML was a friendlier game to play for outsiders. Name Million Live refers to the goal of the game, at least as far as the story claims. Million Live is a live where 1 million fans attend the live, which I guess is kind of self-explanatory. This very meaning of Million Live doesn't get revisited often, and they really don't to this day, but the number million is a sacred number for the sub-series, and it's often referred in many elements such as song lyrics and, these days, a special mark given to your post-live lobby when you score 1 million points or more in Million Live sequel, Theater Days. As a sub-series, Idolmaster Million Live can be considered the true sequel of the Namco Pro games. Hear me out on this, because while Idolmaster 2 and the anime were set with the idols back to Step 1, in other words, a timeline reboot, Idolmaster Million Live is set where the original 13 idols were already top idols. They're veterans, seniors for this brand new group of hopeful idols to look up to. Although it is unclear from which timeline Million Live continued on from, either the first Vision games or Idolmaster 2. It never got detailed, and in a way, it kind of never has to be. Loose timelines like this are bread and butter for the Idolmaster series. So, now that Namco Pro is successful because of the All-Stars, it's time for them to expand by having their own theater to perform in. Kind of modeled after AKB48 theaters where those idol groups get to perform in. Although hilariously, in the usual Namco Pro fashion, the theater starts in a small, kind of circus-like tent. And it might sound like it, but for those of you who still remember Wonder Momo's Namco Theater, this isn't it. This new theater in question is not the same as the Namco Theater. The theater Namco Pro has is called the Namco Live Theater. How Namco Theater is faring right now, or if Namco and Namco Pro are related at all within the game's universe, is completely unknown, but that's a kind of deep rabbit hole that we don't really need to talk about. Back to talking about the cast. Greemas had all of the original 13 Namco Pro idols available, split into 3 categories: vocal, dance, and visual. The girls are arranged as follows. In vocal, we have Haruka, Chihaya, Takane, Azusa, and Iori. In dance, we have Hibiki, Makoto, and Yayoi. In vocal, we have Yukio, Ami, Ritsuko, Mami, and Miki. Surprisingly, their casual clothes were about the same as in the anime, except for Ritsuko. She's still in the business suit, but not the black one as shown in the anime. For the theater, the agency recruited a whopping 37 new idols? Alright, I'm actually not surprised about this number as much these days because I'm a Million Live producer myself, but I feel like for someone that's getting into the franchise might be a little overwhelmed considering they have 37 new girls, plus the 13 original girls, plus voice actors and nicknames all to kind of keep track of. It's a big number, but compared to the far larger 190 idols that Cinderella girls have, 50 actually doesn't seem like that much anymore. So the compromise is that, unlike in Cinderella Girls where only some of the idols end up getting a voice, and every once in a while they end up getting a voice, and sometimes there's just new girls being added, all the idols in Million Live were already voiced from the game's launch, so there's no such thing as like in Cinderella Girls on voting to decide who gets to be voiced next.